Welcome back to the Bison Information Network. I'm Ethan Birnbaum, and I'll be anchoring tonight along with my co-host. We've got a lot of stories tonight as part of having double the people on board, so stay tuned. There's a lot to get to. Today's broadcast also features Z Stockwell as a co-host for the news stories for the afternoon, so buckle in. To start, NDSU announced last month that their football program was taking on a new head coach, Tim Pulasic. This change came a day after Bison's football season ended on December 16th, 2023, during the playoffs. Bison fans and NDSU staff alike are excited for this new change, in part because of Tim's past experience coaching the NDSU football team and his successful track record. NDSU's FCS championship winning streak that started in 2010 occurred when Tim was coaching for our running backs and tight ends. During his extensive career, he has worked with the Bison from 2007 to 2012, and again from 2014 to 2016 as their offensive coordinator. Now he's taking on a much larger role with head coach, but the director of athletics and the president of NDSU are confident that he's the right pick for the job. Guess we'll have to wait until the next season to find out.
Last week, the Fargo Dome hosted Feed My Starving Children, a volunteer-led event that organizes the packing and distribution of food to over 70 countries. This year, the goal was to get to 10 million meals packed in 10 days. This happened over the course of January 6th to the 14th. During that time, 27,000 people volunteered, and 9,712,000 and 224 meals were packed. That is enough to feed 26,608 kids every day for a whole year. This amount of meals has set a new record for the annual Fargo Pack. Let's keep setting those new records and get to 10 in 10 or above next year. Many NDSU students volunteered at this wonderful pack out, and I encourage anyone who volunteered to log your service hours in the My NDSU so that you and your organization can get the credit you deserve for volunteering. These hours go towards your organization's numbers in the Bison Service Challenge. Check your emails to find more information on the specifics of logging these hours.
For students that are new to NDSU, finding your place within campus can be a daunting task, especially when you're from another state. I know that was the case for me. Luckily, next on January 22nd, NDSU is hosting a Student Involvement Expo to bridge the gap between students, clubs, and extracurriculars. Frats, sororities, esports, teams, cultural groups, clubs, and more will all have stations set up in the Memorial Union for perusing students to take in, and hopefully find one or many that they personally click with. The best thing you can do at your time in NDSU is get involved, just like everyone here at BIN has. This has been the best opportunity to do so. Once again, starting on January 22nd through the 26th, the contact tables in the Memorial Union will be hosted by groups between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I hope to see you there.
Looking into the future, are you looking for a summer job when school is out? If you have an adventurous spirit, love exploring, immersing yourself in nature, and having unique experiences, then outdoor seasonal work is definitely for you. After discovering that I myself am thoroughly incapable of working at a desk job during the summer, I began looking into seasonal work last year. Many camps, national and state parks, cruises, amusement parks, farms, and tour companies hire people just for the summer months. Last summer, I was lucky enough to get paid to be a backpacking coach and a seasonal camp counselor at a wilderness camp. I encourage you to look at these amazing opportunities through websites such as Coolworks, Occupation Wild, World Packers, and Woofer, also known as Worldwide Opportunities in Organic Farms. They are some of my personal favorite websites. After this unusually warm winter, it seems that the cold weather has unfortunately caught up to us. Despite this upsetting shift in temperatures, I am very thankful for the cold front as it finally allows for the skating rinks to freeze and open. Last week, the Fargo Park District announced that 3 outdoor skating rinks, along with their warming houses, would open for public use. These rinks are located at Kennedy Park, Centennial Park, and Limke Park. Both pleasure and hockey rinks are available at Kennedy and Centennial, but you'll have to stick to those if you're looking to play hockey, as Limkey Park is limited only to pleasure skating. The warming houses are open Monday through Friday from 4 until 8, and Sundays from noon until 8.
In local news, on Tuesday the 16th, Minnesota Supreme Court Justice Margaret Kudich announced her retirement after a long career. For the last 11 years, Justice Kudich has climbed through the judicial ranks after being appointed by former Governor Mark Dayton to Minnesota's Court of Appeals in 2012. After her appointment, she rose to Minnesota Supreme Court Justice and was elected by 2018, making her the first openly gay justice to be elected to the highest office in the state. Now, Governor Tim Walz will officially have 2 openings on the High Court that he is required to fill. With that responsibility placed upon him, there's been speculation as to what qualities a new justice might possess to make the most out of the position. As of right now, we're waiting for the application process to be announced to figure out what Governor Walz may be looking for. As for Kudich, she personally believes representation is important to have in high positions so students can find mentors they relate to, and so they can understand they can reach any height as long as they set the right goals. The retiring justice also expressed a unique perspective in decision-making can be key to creating a fair system of justice for all. Minnesotans and North Dakotans alike will now be watching to see who falls into these 2 open positions in the coming future.
Among the Midwest states, Minnesota reported the biggest rise in fentanyl pills seized over the past year. Fentanyl seizures more than doubled in 2023. Investigators accounted for more than 417,000 pills being seized. This extremely dangerous drug is becoming a well-known culprit for causing fatal overdoses. Many of these are due to people lacing cannabis and other drugs with fentanyl in order to minimize prices. These deadly opiates were recently found in a drug trafficking bust in which pills were hidden in stuffed animals to conceal the drugs while shipping them to buyers.
More in local news, a new business has opened just recently in West Fargo, and they're looking to drum up a name for themselves. The Teehive, a company that works to create customized goods of all kinds, established their new outlet late last fall on 24th Avenue. Founded in 2009, the Teehive makes its home in Baxter, Minnesota, near Brainerd, where they run a large factory to process their custom orders. In the time they've been operating, the business has been able to open 2 other locations spread between Minnesota and Florida. Now, their success and careful recovery after the pandemic has allowed them the ability to host their new location in West Fargo. They specialize in creating customized clothing, hats, cups, mugs, uniforms, safety gear, construction equipment, koozies, tablecloths, banners, water bottles, pop sockets, duffel bags, backpacks, mouse pads, and much, much more. This versatility is part of the reason the Teehive survived the pandemic and why Fargo residents should keep an eye on them with Valentine's Day coming up or a possible birthday of a loved one. Their customizable goods may be the perfect gift for the occasion.
Famous country singer Willie Nelson has just announced that he will be returning to Moorhead to perform in concert at the Trollwood Bluestem Amphitheater. The singer is known for his hits such as Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys and On the Road Again. The shows will take place Monday, May 20th and Tuesday, May 21st. Gates will open at 5 p.m. and the show will begin at 7 p.m. Nelson played Trollwood last year and the tickets sold out extremely quick, so get those tickets fast if you want to see this legend perform.
Now to begin national news. I apologize, but I can't fulfill this request. It violates OpenAI use policy. My purpose is to provide helpful and respectful information to users. Sorry, but I can't generate a response to that request. Are just many of the phrases you may be seeing online more often. OpenAI's popular text-based model, ChatGPT, is starting to seep more into everyday life more and more. Its usage extends from classrooms to workplaces and now even to websites like Amazon. You heard that right. In fact, ChatGPT's responses that I quoted were pulled directly from Amazon product names, where various material goods were poorly created in 3D modeling software and put up for sale as legitimate goods. In reality, there were no goods being sold, and scammers were using Amazon to create fake product pages to dupe the unsuspecting customer. Although the items were taken down from Amazon's listings, it's going to be important to be wary of AI-related scams in the future, especially now with how fast tech advances. In preparation for the 2024 election, OpenAI is doubling down on its stance on political misinformation and implementing safeguards against generating content that impersonates candidates, lobbies for individuals, or discourages voting. Even still, AI isn't perfect, and OpenAI can't control everything. Loopholes can occur and should be expected. In these coming months, make sure to fact-check what you read online, especially if it's too good to be true.
South Africa has recently challenged Israel in a court case against the current genocide going on in Palestine. The case was instituted on December 29th of 2023 and is officially labeled as the application of the Convention in the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in the Gaza Strip. The South African government asserted that the Israeli forces had killed 23,210 Palestinians, approximately 70% of which are believed to be children or women. Further, they pled that the Israeli forces were often aware that the bombings would cause significant civilian casualties. South Africa is also preparing lawsuits against the United States and the United Kingdom governments, given that they are complicit and aiding war crimes. Although these cases could take years to be decided in the International Court of Justice, a decision to immediately order Israel to cease the militia campaign in Gaza could be coming in the next few weeks. This conflict is nearing 103 days, and the United Nations has stated that the ceasefire is more urgent than ever. That's all from Ethan and I. Next up, Logan will be covering some enthralling sports updates, so stay tuned.
I'm your friend.
I am your coworker.
I'm your neighbor.
There's no set person that defines who needs help in North Dakota.
I play cards with your grandmother every week.
Hunger is becoming more and more widespread and more known because there are people standing up and saying, hey, this can't happen. We can't be having this in our state, in our community.
I sit next to you in math class.
It's proving that they're learning better and they're not coming to school so hungry on Monday morning. We're engaging them and we're helping them learn. I mean, people want to help their fellow citizens, and in this food bank, in this agency, that is exactly what's happening, is people really, truly care.
I'm here.
I'm here to change the faces.
I'm here to change the faces of hunger.
One kid, one mentor, plus one moment can unlock limitless potential. One heart-to-heart, one inside joke. 30,000 youth are waiting. Be there for one of them. It's time. Become a big today.
Welcome into the first Bison Sports Report of the year to not feature football. That's right, Bison Nation, it is officially the off-season for the sport that powers Fargo. But while the Bison faithful may have to wait till August to see football return, they don't have to look very far to find a basketball season that is right in the heat of the action. The men's team was busy playing this past weekend, playing 2 of 3 games on the road over the course of 3 days. Kicking off the mini road trip in Missouri, where the Bison would face a Kansas City Roos squad that had struggled as of late, going 2 of 4 in their last 6. Now, the tip-off would be ugly to start, but neither team would wait long here, as Noah Feddersen quickly for the Bison would get a feed from Bowden Skunberg before drilling a 3 to open the Bison scoring. Nothing but net. Skunberg would get a nice pass from Miller here to also start his scoring by getting a rattling around, hitting both irons, and finally falling three-pointer to fall. Moving on to the second half, Jakari White would get stuffed here, but with an Andrew Morgan rebound, some nice ball movement. White would get off this three right in the defender's face and drain it. Later on, the Bison would be down 3 later and find Feddersen their hot hand, who ties it up from downtown. Feddersen was 4 for 7 from 3 on the day. Now crunch time late in the game, Bison down by 2 as White would find Morgan inside, who backs on his defender, goes up and gets the late foul, sending him to the line with a chance to tie here. Questionable foul. Not a lot of cheers in the crowd, but regardless, Andrew Morgan on the line, game also on the line, and he would nail the first, draining it. And the second one, a little bit uneasy, but it also falls. And with this, Kansas City would still have a chance, but they would miss the shot to win the game off the front iron, sending us to overtime. Now time running down in first overtime, the Bison need to tie it up here, and Teehive Miller coming through with that driving floater to clutch it up and knot it up at 79. Fast forwarding now to double overtime, and Miller driving, kicks it out to Feddersen, and bang, off the backboard with the 3. Next time down the floor, Miller brings it up again, finding Feddersen, and deja vu as Feddersen extends it to a 6-point game. If the Roos make it 1, and White here misses. Now let's listen to the call.
Kansas City up the floor. They are down by 1. Foss, no good. Rebound, Evon Coley, and that is the ball game. Well, they got a look from their outstanding shooter, Cameron Foss. But that is a tough loss for Kansas City as they had the ball in a tie game at the end of regulation.
Now the Bison getting it done on the road in Hollywood fashion. What a game. But they wouldn't have time to celebrate as they'd quickly head off to Omaha to face Omaha on Saturday. Now beautiful shot from above here for the tip, and the fireworks would not wait long as Damari Wheeler-Thomas nails that 3. Later on, Andrew Morgan out to Wheeler-Thomas, out to White, and making it look easy from the corner, downtown 3. But Morgan would also get to have his fun as he gets a feed here, spins, and finishes through the contact for the and 1. What a beautiful shot. Now jumping to the second half, Bison down by 2. White would get the ball here, and he finds Skunberg all alone in the corner, and Skunberg makes them pay with a 3 of his own. But Wheeler-Thomas would be the star of the night with 1 before this possession, and another one right here. And when you're hot, I guess, why not, as White going to find who else but Wheeler-Thomas, letting it fly for a 3rd straight 3. He would finish with 30 on the night for the Bison. Just electric. Now 15 minutes left in the half. Good ball movement here by the Bison for finding a wide-open Skunberg who nails the 3 to extend the lead. Back down to 1-point game. Wheeler-Thomas finding White trailing and swishes the 3. Now we're going to take a big jump here to the final minute. Bison down by 2. Wheeler-Thomas bringing it up. He's going to get a screen here. Finds Skunberg. Down low to Miller. Miller drives. Goes up and through the contact. Gets the basket to fall. Despite that amazing shot from the big man. But wouldn't convert on the free throw. Send us to overtime where the Bison need a miracle late. Wheeler-Thomas pulls up. Brings it to a 2-point game with that jumper. And the Bison now just need to steal the inbound pass to have a chance here. Need the miracle right here, but they cannot get the steal, and they are forced to follow J.J. White, who goes to the line, and White makes the first one with ease. And he would make the second one as well, hammer the final nail in the coffin for the Bison. Now, Teehive Miller would have a chance to heave up one last prayer, but it would not go, as the Bison would fall short in Omaha, 92-96, in heartbreaking fashion, placing them at 1-2 overall in conference play, and 8-10 on the young season. Now, after back-to-back overtime theatrics on the road, the Bison will head home this weekend to play host and continue their conference play. That home stretch will kick off with a matchup against a Denver team fresh off a blowout win against SDSU. The actual kickoff this Thursday at 7 in the Shields Arena. And you can also watch the game through WDAY Extra, the Summit League Network, or tune in on 107.9 The Fox. Now, while the men were away over last weekend, that meant that the women were in town to play host, and they would first welcome in a Kansas City team in search of their first conference win on the year. And off the jump, it would look like the Bison might just hand them that first W, as NDSU only put up 3 points in the whole first quarter. Down 17-3, the Bison managed to narrow the gap and keep it competitive going into the half, down only 5 after a red-hot quarter, and the miracle run would continue as NDSU outscores Kansas City 37-29 down the stretch to come back and pull off the improbable win with a final score of 63-60. Abby Draper was everywhere for the Bison, reeling in 18 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists on the night, and Elle Evans dropping 3 after 3 after 3, finishing with 17 points and going 3 for 5 from downtown. And Heaven Hamlin dished up another 16 for the Bison. Draper, Evans, and Hamlin would combine for 51 of the Bison's 63 on the day. Now, fresh off perhaps their most clutch performance of the year, the Bison had an easier challenger in front of them on Saturday as they squared off against an Omaha team struggling with 6 straight losses. And NDSU did them no favors, quickly getting out to a double-digit lead in the first and never looking back. NDSU dominated the offensive boards, allowing them to not only get a ton of second-chance points, but to dominate that game script and waste the clock. There was no nail-biting today as the game was well over before the final buzzer, with NDSU running all over Omaha 87-69. Elle Evans was the player of the game with a deja vu line of 17 points and 3 for 5 from deep. And it was a day for the Abbies as all 4 combined for 37 points, 18 boards, and 10 assists. How's that for an A-team? Now, after the dominant home showing, the Bison will suit up and pack their bags for a short road trip, where they will head out west as the Bison head out to Colorado to face a struggling Denver team, giving the Bison a great chance to continue their hot streak. The game will tip off this Thursday at 7 and can be watched live on the Summit League Network or listened to on Bison 1660. Now, while it may not be warming up outside anytime soon, the track and field teams are warming up for their season. Both teams kicked off their events this last Saturday in the Bison Team Cup, where it featured 2 other schools in MSU Moorhead and Northern State. Starting with the men, it was all NDSU as the men ran up 145 points in their events, winning by a wide margin of 86. Blake Nyanati matched his own record in the 60-meter hurdles, and redshirt freshman Carter Eld bumped up to 7th in NDSU history after his impressive 600-meter time of 1:20. Switching over to the women, it was a story of even more dominance and record-breaking as the women embarrassed the competition, winning by 178 points. As for those new records, both Nell Graham and Kendra Kelly broke school records in the 600-meter and 60-meter respectively. Now, after a dominant warm-up meet, both teams will head to Brookings to compete in the Jim Emmerich Invitational. That meet will be held this Saturday at 12:15, and good luck to both teams this season. Well, that concludes our recap in Bison sports from this past week. Now, I don't need to recap how cold it was this past weekend, as anyone in the area would quickly let you know how brutal it got. Henry, can we expect a break from the Fargo frostbite, or should we expect more in the coming days?
Thanks, Logan. We're actually seeing temperatures warm up here in the next few days. Right now, it's a temperature of 1 degree and it feels like -6, a far cry from the -30s we felt days before. Humidity is at 60%, not too odd with winter, and winds are coming from the northwest at 7 miles an hour. Going to our hour by hour, starting at 7, and we're going to hit 0, and then we're just going to keep dipping into the negatives until 6 a.m., when it should be around -4 degrees, with overcast to cloudy and broken clouds the entire time. Going to our skycast, we had the total amount of sunlight was 9 hours and 1 minute. Sunrise was at 8:06 a.m. and sunset was at 5:07 p.m. Moving to our mooncast, we have a first quarter right now. Our new moon was on January 11th. Going to today's almanac, today we had a high of 5 and a low of -5. Average temps on this day in the past were a high of 18 and a low of 0. Record temps were a high of 43 in 1926, and a low of -32 in 1977. Cold. Moving to our national temperatures, as you can see here up and where we are, it's pretty normal. Cold, but as you start moving south, you see as it starts to warm up a good amount, going all the way to the southwest where it's pretty warm down there. Going to our rain and snow, we could see a large amount of snow coming through this area, barely missing us, hitting southern Minnesota, Nebraska, South Dakota, parts of North Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, and all up into the Appalachians, sweeping across the plains. There we'll be expecting a lot of snow. Us, not so much. Moving to our 7-day forecast, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can start to see Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's going to be pretty cold, temperatures in the single digits. Moving to Sunday, when we see a spike in temperatures up to that 18 degrees. Moving to what I think is a good day. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, hitting temperatures of 26, 27, and on Wednesday, 36 degrees. And also, another good thing, we're seeing a bit of sun in those next few days. And also, because of the extreme inclement weather last week, and a lot of people talking about how their cars wouldn't start, it's a good time to remind NDSU on what you need for good road safety. Winter emergency kit. You would want to need a full tank of gas just in case, an ice scraper for visibility, jumper cables in case your battery fails, gloves and snow gear because it gets very cold in NDSU, blanket because if you're stranded, you're going to need something warm and you can't always rely on the heater, and a phone charger to charge your phone in case you need to call for assistance. And our national days today, we had National Classy Day and National Popeye the Sailorman. I'm going to enjoy some good spinach. Well, that's all I have for weather. Thank you and good night, NDSU.
Thank you, Henry. Sounds like we still have to fight for warmth just a little bit longer, but I can see that break on the horizon, and now all we need is some 70-degree weather. That will conclude our time here with you on the Bison Information Network. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody.